The wind was cold that night, and Ethan was sitting alone inside his small wooden cabin, trying to fix his old heater. The forest outside was silent, too silent, as if every creature had suddenly disappeared. Ethan was used to quiet nights, but this one felt different. It felt heavy, like someone was watching him from the dark. He ignored the feeling until he heard it, a soft cry. It was not a normal baby cry. It was mixed with a strange echo, like two voices crying at the same time. Ethan froze. No human child could make that sound. He stood up slowly and walked toward the front door. The cry came again, louder this time, and his heart began to beat fast. He opened the door, and the cold air rushed inside, hitting his face. He stepped out, searching the dark ground with his eyes. For a few seconds, he saw nothing. Then he looked down. A tiny child sat on his doorstep. The child was small, wrapped in a thin blanket, shaking with fear. Her skin was pale blue and small. Glowing symbols slowly moved across her arms like living tattoos. Her eyes were large and bright, filled with tears. Ethan's breath stopped. He had never seen anything like her. She was clearly not human. The child looked up at him with panic, clutching the blanket tighter. Ethan knelt slowly so he wouldn't scare her. Before he could say a word, he noticed something hidden inside the blanket, a folded piece of cloth with strange symbols written on it. It looked like a message left for him, but who left it? His answer came when he heard a branch crack in the distance. Ethan looked toward the trees. A figure stood between the shadows. A woman, no, not a woman, an alien. She was tall, graceful, and strangely beautiful. Her skin glowed softly, like moonlight touching water. Her long white hair flowed behind her as the wind passed. Her eyes were full of sadness and fear. Ethan felt like she wanted to say something, but no sound came. He took one small step toward her. She stepped back. He held up his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "Is she yours?" he whispered. The alien woman's lips trembled. She nodded once, very softly. Her eyes were begging him for something. Help, maybe? Safety? He didn't know. Before Ethan could speak again, a distant rumble shook the ground. The alien woman looked up at the sky in panic. Something was coming. Something dangerous. Ethan opened his mouth to ask what was happening, but she suddenly pointed at the child, then at him. It was as if she was saying, "Take her. Keep her safe." Then she turned around and ran into the forest. "Wait!" Ethan shouted, but she didn't stop. She disappeared into the darkness within seconds, leaving only the crying child on his doorstep. Ethan stood frozen. Why would a mother leave her baby with a stranger? Why with him? What danger was she running from? Who else knew the child was here? Another rumble echoed from the sky, and the child's skin symbols glowed brighter, reacting to something. She looked terrified. Ethan gently picked her up, feeling how cold and light she was. She wrapped her tiny arms around his neck as if she knew him, as if she trusted him. "It's okay," he whispered, even though nothing felt okay. "You're safe now. I won't let anything happen to you." He carried her inside, locked the door, and closed the curtains. The house felt warmer with the child in his arms, but outside, the night felt more dangerous than ever. Ethan sat on the chair and looked at the message cloth again. The symbols glowed softly. He couldn't read them, but he felt they were important. Maybe the alien mother left him a warning. Maybe she left a clue. The child touched the cloth with her small hand, and suddenly the symbols moved and formed a new shape. Ethan stared in shock. It was a mark, a royal mark, like a crest. The child wasn't just any alien child. She was important. Someone powerful was searching for her. Someone who didn't care if Earth was in the way. A faint light flashed outside the window. Ethan looked up quickly. The sky was no longer empty. Small ships glided quietly above the trees, searching, scanning. Hunting. Ethan held the child close as fear crawled into his chest. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. He didn't know the danger coming for them. But he knew one thing. Tonight, his simple life was over. And protecting this alien child was now the most important and most dangerous thing he had ever done. Asterisk. Ethan placed the alien child gently on the warm sofa. She was still shaking, clutching her blanket like it was the last safe thing in her world. Her glowing symbols dimmed and brightened, reacting to her emotions. Ethan sat beside her, unsure what to do, unsure what she needed. He had taken care of human children before, but this was different. This tiny being didn't belong to Earth, didn't belong to anything he understood. He reached for a cup of warm milk, hoping she could drink it. She sniffed it, but the heat scared her. She pulled back and made a soft chirping sound, confused and frightened. Ethan quickly put the cup aside. Okay. No milk, he whispered gently. The child suddenly curled into a small ball and pressed her ear against the wooden wall. Ethan watched, confused. The house was quiet, but she acted like she was hearing something he couldn't. Her eyes widened with fear, and she pointed at the sky as if she heard something approaching. Ethan listened carefully, but there was nothing, no ship, no engine, not even wind. The child's hearing was far stronger than his. She crawled closer to him and grabbed his sleeve tightly. Her touch was cold, but her grip was desperate. Ethan understood that something frightened her deeply, something he couldn't sense yet. He wrapped a blanket around her and whispered, "You're safe. Nobody will hurt you." But even he didn't believe his own words. Not with those silent ships in the sky earlier. The child looked into his eyes, and for a moment, Ethan felt something strange, like she was trying to speak, but not with words. Her symbols glowed softly, forming patterns across her skin. Ethan didn't understand them, but he felt they meant something important. Then she suddenly cried out, louder than before, and the lights in the house flickered. The bulbs buzzed and dimmed. Ethan jumped up, shocked. The child's cry was not just emotional, it affected the environment. It affected energy. She was connected to something far bigger. He picked her up, and she immediately pressed her forehead against his chest, calming down a little. Her glowing skin dimmed again, matching his heartbeat, as if she was sinking with him. Ethan felt protective in a way he didn't expect. He didn't know this child, didn't even know her name, but something inside him refused to let go of her. After a few minutes, she fell asleep. Ethan gently laid her down and finally examined the cloth message again. The symbols on the cloth shifted when touched by the child. But when Ethan touched them, nothing happened. He realized the message was meant only for her or her own kind. He leaned back in his chair, staring at the dim light of the lamp. His mind refused to stop racing. Why did the mother leave the child with him? Why not another member of her species? Why not someone who understood these symbols? He remembered her eyes, the pain, the desperation, the fear. She wasn't abandoning her child, she was saving her. Suddenly the floor vibrated. Ethan stood up quickly. The child didn't wake up, but her symbols glowed bright for a moment, as if reacting to something outside. Ethan walked to the window and slowly moved the curtain. Two faint orbs of light hovered between the trees. Then the orbs separated and moved in opposite directions, searching. Ethan felt cold sweat run down his back. They were scanning the forest. Again, their movement felt intelligent, purposeful. They weren't here for exploration. They were here for the child. He stepped away from the window and returned to the child. She stirred slightly, her breathing fast, as if she sensed the danger even in her sleep. Ethan placed his hand on her small back. "I won't let them take you," he whispered. But the truth was, he didn't know how he would protect her. He didn't even know who they were. The child suddenly opened her eyes, not fully awake, but half-conscious, and reached toward the lamp on the table. A tiny pulse of light burst from her fingertips. The lamp turned off without Ethan touching. He stared, shocked that she was more than different. She had abilities that didn't belong on Earth, and if she could turn off lights with a gesture, what else could she do? When the glowing symbols faded again, she fell into a deeper sleep. Ethan covered her and sat beside her the whole night. His mind full of fear and questions that something was coming for this child, something powerful, something dangerous, and somehow, he was now part of it. Ethan barely slept the rest of the night. Every sound outside, every crack of a branch, every shift of wind made him stand up and check the window again. The alien child slept on the sofa, curled up like a frightened kitten, glowing symbols, faint but still moving slowly under her skin. She looked peaceful now, but Ethan knew her peace was fragile. Too fragile when dawn finally arrived. The sky turned orange and quiet. The strange ships were gone. The lights in the forest vanished. For the first time since the child arrived, Ethan felt a tiny moment of safety. But he knew safety wouldn't last long. He needed answers. He needed to find the alien mother. He made a small bowl of warm broth for the child. She sniffed it nervously, but took a few sips. Her glowing marks brightened a little, almost like she was thanking him. Ethan smiled gently. "I'll be back soon," he whispered to her. "I need to find something, or someone." She reached for him, her small fingers trembling, but Ethan softly shook his head. "I'll return, I promise." He wrapped her in a warm blanket and placed her near the fire before stepping outside. The morning air was cold, sharp, and strange. The forest felt heavy, as if keeping secrets hidden between the trees. Ethan began walking toward the direction where he last saw the alien woman disappear. The ground showed faint signs of movement, dragged earth, broken leaves, disturbed soil. Someone ran through here in a hurry. After a few minutes, he found the first clear clue. A tree trunk had deep marks cut into it, glowing faintly blue even in daylight. Not claw marks, not knife marks, something else. Something like energy had sliced into the bark. Ethan touched the glowing cut carefully. It was warm, recently made, maybe last night, maybe by her. He followed the trail further until he reached a riverbank. There, he found something else, small footprints, not human. Light, elegant, with tiny swirls at the edges. The alien mother's footprints. Ethan's heart raced. She had been here recently. Maybe she was hurt. Maybe she was still nearby. He knelt down and inspected the ground carefully. Her footprints were mixed with something else larger, heavier prints that didn't belong to her. Someone had followed her. Maybe more than one. Maybe the same hunters from the night sky. He stood quickly, feeling the fear return. He walked upstream, following the trail. The forest grew darker as he moved deeper. Strange bird-like creatures cried from the branches, and roots twisted across the path like warning signs. Ethan kept going. Soon he found something that made his breath catch. A silver necklace lay in the dirt. It was thin, glowing slightly under the morning light. When Ethan picked it up, he felt warmth radiate from it. The pendant had the same moving symbols as the child's skin. It had to belong to the alien mother. Ethan looked around, hoping she might still be close. But the forest remained silent, offering no answers. He closed his hand around the necklace and continued walking. He felt like the deeper he went, the more the forest pressed against him. Then he found the final clue. A large stone stood in the center of a small clearing. Burned into its surface was a strange symbol, a circle with 4 lines crossing through it, glowing faintly. Ethan reached out but didn't touch it. Something about it felt powerful, like it held authority or meaning. He stepped back and stared. The symbol looked familiar. He had seen it once before, on the cloth message left with the child. It was a crest, a sign of rank, a royal mark. Ethan's chest tightened. The alien woman wasn't just a mother protecting her. Baby. She was someone important. Someone royal, maybe a queen or part of a powerful clan. And if she was running, if she was hiding, then the child wasn't just any child. She was someone the hunters desperately wanted, someone they would not stop searching for. Ethan suddenly felt the weight of everything he'd discovered. He wasn't just protecting an abandoned child. He was protecting the child of a royal alien. A child whose existence could change something powerful in the universe. He took one last look at the glowing symbol on the stone. Then he turned around and started walking back quickly. The forest felt more dangerous now, as if something invisible was watching him. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. When he reached his cabin, he saw the child sitting up, waiting for him. She crawled toward him and wrapped her small arms around his leg. Ethan knelt and hugged her tightly. He didn't have answers. He didn't know how to fight alien hunters or protect a royal child. But he knew one thing for sure. He was not leaving her alone. Not now. Not ever. Ethan locked the cabin door the moment he stepped inside. His heartbeat was still fast from what he had discovered in the forest. The alien child looked up at him with wide, glowing eyes, as if she sensed something new, something darker clinging to him. Ethan knelt and gently wiped a leaf from her hair. "It's okay," he whispered, though he wasn't sure if anything was okay anymore. He placed the silver necklace, the one he found near the river, around her tiny neck. The moment the pendant touched her skin, her symbols brightened. The necklace shimmered with a soft blue light, almost alive. The child held it tightly, as if she recognized it. As if she had worn it before. Ethan realized it wasn't just jewelry. It was a connection to her mother. He made her sit comfortably on the sofa and wrapped her in a blanket. But before Ethan could even take a breath, the child stiffened suddenly. Her glowing symbols flashed in rapid patterns. She looked toward the window with terror in her eyes. Ethan didn't hear anything yet, but she did. A low hum vibrated through the walls. The lamp on the table flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ethan slowly approached the window, his heart pounding painfully against his ribs. When he peeked outside, his blood turned cold. Two shadow-like ships hovered above the treetops. Not the large warships he had seen on TV or movies. These were different. Sleek, silent, and shaped like curved blades. Their lights scanned the forest floor slowly, searching for something, searching for someone. The child crawled toward Ethan and pressed herself against his leg, trembling so badly he could feel her shaking through the fabric of his jeans. He lifted her into his arms. "Don't worry. I've got you," he whispered. But she buried her face in his chest and let out a tiny, frightened chirp. Then Ethan noticed something even worse. Two figures stepped out of the ships and landed silently on the ground. Hunters, tall, armored, with glowing rings around their wrists and ankles. Their helmets were sharp, pointed, with red slits across the eyes. They moved like predators, slow, confident, unstoppable. One of them knelt down and touched the soil where the child had walked the night before. The ground glowed under his fingers. They were tracking her scent. Ethan's entire body froze with fear. He moved away from the window and whispered, "Stay quiet. Don't make a sound." The child nodded weakly, her tiny hands gripping his shirt so tightly that her fingers turned white. The hunters moved closer to the cabin, their footsteps silent but heavy with intent. One raised a scanner that emitted a slow rotating beam of red light. The beam swept across the trees, across the cabin door, across the window. Ethan held his breath. The child held hers too. The red beam paused. It returned to the cabin door. Ethan felt his stomach twist. They had found something: heat, energy, life. They were seconds away from discovering the child's presence. Ethan moved fast. He carried the child into the small storage room beneath the floor. He quietly lifted the wooden trapdoor, climbed inside, and pulled it closed above him. The space was tiny and cold, filled with old tools and boxes. But it was hidden. The child clung to him tightly, trembling harder now. Her glowing marks dimmed as if she was trying to shut down her energy. To hide herself. Above them, footsteps. Approached. Slow, heavy, prepared. Ethan held the child close and pressed a hand gently over her mouth, not to silence her, but to comfort her. Her eyes shimmered with fear. Then came the sound he was dreading. The cabin door creaked open. Ethan heard alien voices. Low, deep, sharp. They spoke in a language he didn't understand, but he felt their coldness through the floorboards. Something metallic scraped across the wooden floor. Maybe a weapon. Maybe a scanner. Maybe both. Ethan held his breath again. Minutes felt like hours. Then one hunter spoke louder, as if giving an order. The footsteps moved to the far side of the cabin. Something crashed, his lamp falling. His table dragged. They were searching. Everything. The child whimpered softly. Ethan gently stroked her head, silently begging her to stay silent. Suddenly, the scanner stopped moving. Silence. The hunters stood still. Then one of them whispered something, and Ethan felt his veins turn cold. They knew the child had been here. Loud thump echoed as one of the hunters hit the floor above the trapdoor, testing the wood. A thin crack formed. The child gasped quietly, but then another sound came from outside. A roar, not human, not mechanical, a familiar sound. The alien mother. The hunters jerked their heads toward the door. Ethan felt a rush of hope mixed with fear. Was she fighting? Was she wounded? Was she trying to distract them? Above them, the hunters rushed outside. Their footsteps faded. Ethan didn't dare open the trapdoor yet. He held the child close as her. Symbols glowed brighter, reacting to the presence of her mother's energy. He whispered, "She's here. She didn't leave you after all." For the first time the child smiled, but outside, danger was just beginning. Ethan waited in the dark storage room, holding the child close as the sounds outside echoed through the forest. The hunter's footsteps, the crashing branches, the heavy metallic strikes, everything mixed with the distant roar that shook the air. The alien mother was fighting. She had come back. She wasn't running anymore. The child pressed her ear against Ethan's chest, listening to his heartbeat, scared but also hopeful. Her glowing symbols flickered wildly, reacting to the energy outside. She whispered a soft sound, almost like calling out to someone. Ethan stroked her back slowly, trying to keep her calm even though his own fear was rising. After what felt like forever, the sounds outside grew quieter. The hunter's footsteps turned distant, as if they were moving deeper into the forest. Maybe chasing someone. Maybe the mother. Ethan knew he couldn't stay hidden anymore. He slowly pushed open the trapdoor and climbed out, keeping the child in his arms. The cabin was a mess. Furniture overturned. Boxes broken, floor scratched. The hunters had searched almost everything. But they didn't find the child. Ethan walked toward the shattered window and spotted something moving outside. Something small. A soft glow. He stepped out cautiously, holding the child close. That's when he saw her. The alien mother was lying on the ground near the edge of the forest, half conscious, her body trembling with exhaustion. Her once bright skin now looked pale and cracked, glowing only in broken patterns. She tried to lift her head but collapsed again. Ethan rushed to her without thinking. Hey, don't move. I've got you," he said urgently. The child reached out toward her mother with both arms, crying softly. The mother's eyes opened slowly, weak but full of love. She stretched her arm toward her daughter, but her hand shook so badly she couldn't hold her. Ethan knelt beside her. "You saved us, but you're hurt. You're badly hurt." The alien mother tried to speak. Her voice was broken, almost fading. She placed a hand on Ethan's arm, her fingers cold and trembling. She looked into his eyes with desperate sincerity. Then she whispered her first clear words. "Protect her." Ethan felt his chest tighten. "I will," he said without hesitation. "But you need help. Let me take you inside." She shook her head slowly. "No. No time, they will come." Again. Her gaze shifted to the child, who crawled into her mother's arms, sobbing. The mother gently placed a hand over her daughter's back. The glowing symbols on both their bodies pulsed softly together, like they were sharing warmth. Or memories. Tears filled the mother's eyes. "I never wanted to leave her," she whispered, voice breaking. "But my people, my clan, they wished her dead." Ethan froze. "Dead? Why?" The mother closed her eyes as pain washed through her. "She is different, born with an ancient power, a gift our rulers fear. They think she will destroy their control. They wanted to end her life the moment she was born." Ethan felt anger flare inside him. "She's just a baby. A baby who can change everything," the mother whispered. "A baby who carries light from the first stars. A power older than any kingdom. They call her Forbiddance." The child clung to her mother, shaking from sadness. The mother touched her cheek gently. "I ran to save her, to hide her. I followed a signal, a human signal, because humans protect life, even life that is not their own." She looked at Ethan again, tears glowing on her skin. "I watched you from afar. You were kind. You were alone. I prayed you would care for her, even for one night." Ethan's voice cracked. "I won't let anyone hurt her. I promise you." The mother took a painful breath. "They will return soon. They do not stop. They do not forgive. You must leave this place. Go far, hide her where they cannot reach." Ethan looked into the forest. "Are you coming with us?" The mother's expression changed, sad, distant, resigned. She shook her head. "I cannot go. My body is failing. Their poison touched me. I will not survive the night." The child let out a distressed cry and hugged her mother tightly. Ethan felt his throat close, his heart crushing under the weight of their pain. The mother slowly lifted her trembling hand and touched Ethan's chest. A small spark of blue light entered him, warm and gentle. It felt like trust. "My daughter will listen to you now," she whispered. "You carry my voice in her heart." Ethan felt tears fill his eyes. The mother leaned down and kissed the child's forehead one last time. "Live, little star, live." Her glow dimmed. Her breathing slowed. The forest went silent. Ethan held the child close as the alien mother's light faded into the morning air. A promise formed in his heart, strong, fierce, unbreakable. He would keep this child safe. No matter what came next. Ethan stayed beside the alien mother until her glow disappeared completely. He didn't speak, didn't move. He simply sat there holding the child, feeling her tiny body shake with silent sobs. The forest around them was still, almost mourning with them. Only the wind moved, brushing gently over the mother's lifeless form. The child crawled into Ethan's lap and pressed her forehead against his chest. Her glowing symbols dimmed into a soft blue, fragile and weak. Ethan hugged her tightly. "I'm here," he whispered. "I won't leave you." But even as he spoke, the air shifted. A distant hum vibrated through the ground. Leaves trembled on branches. Birds flew away suddenly, as if sensing danger before any human could. Ethan stood up, heart pounding. He knew that sound now. He had heard it in the night. The hunters were returning. And this time, they were not searching blindly. They were coming straight for them. He lifted the child and whispered, "We have to go, right now." He carried her quickly back toward the cabin. But before they even reached halfway, the sky darkened. 3 small shadow ships appeared above. The trees, arranged in a hunting pattern, 1 in front, 2 behind. Red scanning beams swept the forest floor like searching eyes. The child grabbed Ethan's shirt tightly. her tiny voice trembling. Ethan hid behind a fallen tree and kept low, breathing carefully. But the beings were getting closer. Closer. He touched the child's cheek. Listen, you have to stay quiet. You have to be brave. I know you're scared. I am too. But we stay strong together, okay? She nodded slowly, tears shimmering in her large alien eyes. The first ship lowered to the ground with a whisper-like sound. 2 hunters stepped out, larger than the ones he saw earlier. Their armor was heavier, and the red marks on their helmets glowed brighter. Leaders of the hunters. One knelt beside the alien mother's body. The other sniffed the air and turned toward the forest. Ethan felt ice run through his blood. They were following scent, heat, heartbeat, energy docked away, slowly holding the child close. But he stepped on a dry twig. Crack. The sound was small. Too small for a human to notice in the forest, but not for hunters. They turned instantly, their helmets lit up. A sharp, high-pitched whistle cut through the air. This is bad, Ethan. Breathed. Suddenly the hunters lunged forward, moving with impossible speed, their feet barely touching the ground. Ethan ran faster than he had ever run before, holding the child tight against his chest. Branches slapped his face, roots twisted under his feet, but he didn't stop. Behind him, the hunters moved like shadows. Then the child's symbols began to glow brightly. Too brightly. Hey, what are you doing? Ethan whispered in panic. The glow spread through her skin, pulsing faster and faster. Her tiny body trembled. She wasn't scared anymore. She was reacting, responding. Her power was waking up. Bright light built under her skin like a rising storm. No, if you release that energy, it might hurt you too. Ethan begged, but it was too late. A soft hum grew into a wave grew into a pulse, and then a blast of pure blue energy exploded from the child's body like a shockwave. It hit the hunters first. They flew backward through the air, crashing into trees, landing hard on the forest floor. Their armor sparked. Their scanners shattered. The ships above flickered and lost altitude, wobbling as if struck by an invisible force. Ethan fell to his knees, holding the child as the shockwave passed through them. His ears rang, his vision blurred. But he didn't let go. The child collapsed in his arms, unconscious, her symbols fading to a faint flicker. No, Ethan whispered, desperately, shaking her gently. Wake up, please, wake up. She didn't move. He checked her breathing, weak but present. Her heart was beating, but slow. The energy blast had drained her completely. She was just a baby. Her small body couldn't handle such power. Ethan pressed her against his chest and stood up shakily. Branches snapped behind him. The hunters were getting up, even injured. They were not stopping. Ethan held the unconscious child tighter. His fear became something stronger, something fierce, something unbreakable. You're not taking her, he whispered with a trembling voice, stepping backward. Not while I'm alive. The hunters roared, their armor lighting up again. Ethan turned and ran toward the deeper forest, carrying the child with every ounce of strength he had left. Far away, hidden somewhere in the trees, another presence watched. Someone powerful, someone who had also sensed the shockwave, and they were coming. Ethan ran until his legs burned, until every breath felt like fire in his chest, but he didn't stop, not even for a second. The unconscious alien child lay against him, her tiny body limp, her glow almost gone. She felt lighter than before, as if the powerful blast had drained every bit of strength inside her. Branches scratched Ethan's arms. Roots tried to trip him, and shadows flickered around him as the hunters followed, relentless. He could hear their growls, their metal armor scraping against broken branches, their scanners beeping sharply as they tracked the fading energy of the child. He kept whispering to her, even though she could not hear. Hold on, stay with me. I promised your mother I would protect you. He wasn't sure where he was going. The deeper forest was unfamiliar, full of strange plants and glowing insects that reacted to the child's presence. But something inside him pushed him forward in instinct. A pull, a feeling that somewhere ahead, help waited. Then the ground beneath him trembled. A soft humming glow appeared between the trees, shifting like a curtain of stars. Ethan stumbled to a stop, confused and terrified. The glow grew brighter, forming a long, shimmering shape almost like a doorway. Ethan took a slow step back, unsure if this was danger or salvation. But the child in his arms reacted first. Her dim symbols flickered weakly, as if recognizing something. Before Ethan could decide what to do, a figure stepped out of the glow. Tall, elegant, wrapped in silver armor marked with the same crest he saw on the stone, the royal mark. The figure's eyes glowed with ancient light. Their voice was deep, calm, and powerful. "You carry the Starburn child," they said. Ethan froze. Who are you?" The figure lowered their weapon and stepped closer. "I am one of the Queen's guardians. I was searching for her. When I felt her life fade," Ethan's chest tightened painfully. "The mother, the Queen, was gone." The guardian bowed his head for a moment in respect, then looked at Ethan again. "You were with her when she died?" Ethan nodded slowly. "She came back to protect us. She told me the truth. And she trusted her daughter to you," the guardian said quietly. "That alone speaks more than any royal command." Behind them, the hunters broke through the trees, roaring in anger when they saw the guardian. Their armor lit up red, signaling attack. The guardian raised one hand. A wave of silver energy burst outward. The hunters were thrown backward, pinned against the trees like broken dolls. Their helmets sparked, their weapons fell from their hands. They were defeated in seconds. Ethan stared in disbelief. You're powerful." The guardian looked at the unconscious child in his arms. "She is more powerful than anyone here, and she chose you as her protector." Ethan looked down at the small alien girl. Her breathing was shallow. Her glow was almost gone. "She used all her energy to save us," he whispered. "She's dying, isn't she?" The guardian knelt beside them, not dying but fading. "Her body is too young for such powerful energy." They extended their hand. Ethan hesitated. "What are you going to do?" "Help her," the guardian said simply. A soft silver light flowed from their palm, wrapping around the child like a warm blanket. Her symbols brightened slowly, then steadily. Her heartbeat grew stronger. Her small fingers twitched. Ethan felt tears burn his eyes. "She's waking?" "Soon," the guardian whispered. The hunters struggled in the distance but couldn't rise. The guardian stood tall again. "Their leader will come next. This forest is no longer safe." Ethan looked at the child, then at the guardian. "What do we do? Where do we go?" The guardian looked at him with a strange softness in their eyes. "You have something no one else in the galaxy has." "What?" Ethan asked. "Her trust," the guardian said. Ethan swallowed hard. "She trusts me because her mother gave her to me." "Not only because of that," the guardian said. "The child can sense hearts, and she chose you. You carry her mother's final energy. You are her bond now." Ethan trembled, realizing the weight of what the mother had given him. The guardian continued, "If you wish, you may come with us, to our hidden world, to raise her where she will be safe. Where you will be safe." Ethan looked at the unconscious child. Her tiny hand had curled around his shirt again. Even in sleep, she wanted him. She trusted him. He took a long breath. "Let go. I won't leave her alone." The guardian nodded. "Then you are family to her now." The glowing doorway opened wider, shining like a new sunrise. Ethan stepped forward, holding the child close. A new world waited on the other side. A world where he was no longer an ordinary human, but the protector of a royal child who carried the power of the stars. And as he walked into the light, he whispered softly to her, "I'm with you. always.